Hello guys, welcome back to United Rock Nations, and today we're with Elias from SONATA ARTICA. They are releasing their 10th album, 10th studio album, Talviyö, on September the 6th this year. So, this is SONATA ARTICA's 10th studio album, and it means Winter Night in English. Why such a title?
The title was actually the last thing we were missing. You know, we had the album done and the cover artwork ready and everything, and the whole thing was mixed and mastered. So we were still lacking a name, and then because of the album cover, of course, it's wintry image of lots of snow and things like that from Finland, and of course. As you said, that Talviyö means winter night, right? So it would be. We thought that it would be quite cheesy or corny to just put the title like in English. So I think when we decided to go with Finnish title, I think the Finnish title is more like exotic to the fans, and because. Even the snow can be exotic for the fans in certain places around the world, so that even adds the exotic there to use a Finnish title, and it looks quite nice, you know, Talviyö written in on the covers, but also I think it's quite a mouthful to try to pronounce it, so I think we just want everybody to try to say it out loud, so around the world. So
how do you pronounce it?
Talviyö. Talviyö.
Quite a challenge, actually.
Well, I don't know anything about that because
of course.
Yeah.
And the cover was from an actual photography.
Yes. There's this guy called Onni Viljami from Finland that he has done some pretty good work, and he's a photographer and really into the photography, and I believe he has won some prizes with the competitions, and we just had his sort of like his portfolio and asked him that, you know, if he would, you know, be willing to do the covers for us and, you know, help us with that, and we saw these winter photos from him, and he was eager to work with us, so that was that. And yeah, because we had a long time this idea that it would be nice to use an actual photo rather than just use like graphic thing done by computers or something like that. So it worked pretty well. Of course, we had to add some moon and wolves and ravens to the to the photo, but otherwise, the basis, it's an actual photo.
Tony said that it was the third album of a third cycle in SONATA ARTICA's era. What do you think about that? Is this a kind of closure?
Yeah, I think I can see that. You know, of course, I wasn't there in the beginning, the first step, you know, the power metal step, or so to speak. So I think when I joined the band, we started to drift a little bit, you know, sideways with the albums and with the songs, and we tried to think everything or anything, you know. I think Tony, as a songwriter, needed that freedom. But now the third part is maybe the last three albums are, which also us musicians and players start to feel maybe the same way, that, you know, okay, everybody as a band, we can do whatever we want. So the people will love it, or they are not going to love it. So it gives you the sense of freedom and creativeness that otherwise wouldn't be possible if we would just do certain songs over and over again, like a power metal style, or, you know, whatever style, you know. But yeah.
The single that is out is about The title is A Little Less Understanding. It's about the upbringing of a child, if I'm right.
Yeah, it's sort of in the same vein that I Have a Right song. It's about the, as you said, yeah, and they have more common than just being a single song. The first single of the album, I Have a Right and Little Less Understanding, because they both were meant to be as a Japanese bonus track. So just maybe not so important song for the band or whatever, but in both cases, what happened was that we realized that they are quite catchy tunes and quite easy to understand and really sort of easy to approach. So we were thinking about the first single, and I think we just we asked from the management and record company what do they think, and yeah, we ended up being with that song, and but it's sort of like if you think about the whole album, I think the song is like a gateway or ramp towards the album, because in the album there's much more versatile songs and progressiveness and all the aspects are in there, but I think it was sort of like an easy decision, not for the band, but maybe for the listener.
And could you tell us something about the other themes that you deal with in the lyrics?
Lyric-wise, of course, Tony does all the lyrics, but I think there's some. It's not like a concept album per se, but I think there's. I believe what Tony told me, that there's 3 songs maybe that deals with this sort of the same thing. This world situation and how we pollute and make a decision by voting. If we vote wrong or right way or stuff like that, and also but there's this love song, so to speak, weird love song, and also I think the Caleb saga is continuing with the song called the Last of the Lambs, and also the first song is about the mythology behind Northern Lights, so beliefs what the ancient people were thinking that could happen if you conceive a boy child under the Northern Lights, for example, or something like that. So there's a lot of different things.
Another song that I like is A Message from the Sun. It's very epic and bombastic. Could you tell us a bit about the genesis of this one?
Well, I think it was quite ready when Tony introduced the song. We just immediately were psyched that it's a faster song, and this sounds a little bit like the older sonata. So when we recorded it and rehearsed it beforehand, so we had this feeling that this is a quite uplifting song and quite. Now it's the first song on the album, so there you go. But of course, I think there's new elements on that song as well. I played a lot of acoustic guitars, for example, on that song as well, and other songs as well. There's a lot of acoustic and like a choir thing going on. There's a lot of background singers chanting the chorus, and yeah, I don't know. It's quite simple song as well. So I'm not sure that what to say more.
Sure. And is there one that you're looking forward to playing on stage?
My personal favorite would be, as of this moment, of course, it can be changed. It can change almost every day, I guess. But Storm the Armada is my favorite, because it has elements of basically like heavy metal elements, not maybe power metal elements, but heavy metal and hard rock elements that I personally prefer, and I get to play acoustic and clean guitars and distortion guitars and a variety of things, you know. And I believe there's a guitar solo as well, if I don't remember correctly. I'm sorry, but it's a hassle. And then Cold, of course. Cold is one of my favorites because it's so touchy and it's sort of like love metalish or something like that. And now we don't have him anymore playing, so so maybe we can do it. So yeah.
Now, could you tell us a bit about the gear you're using and how it affects the sound and how it affects the writing of the music?
I have a deal with ESP Guitars from Japan, and they have produced a model for me, and which is on sale as well. ESP E2 Elias Viljanen model. It's for sale, and I think it's first of all it's a 7-string guitar, which I use quite a lot. But I also use 6-string guitars because I think I prefer the 6-string. I like to think that, you know, because Tony writes music with the keyboards and usually with the keyboards, and maybe not always taking in consideration that, you know, how it would go with a guitar. And I'm always ready. And the 7-string guitar has more variety of the scale and everything. So it's of course a little bit heavier if you're looking for the lower sound, so to speak. So that's the reason. And another reason for using 7-string is that I'm glad that I started to practice 7-string. I had Steve Vai model 7-string Universe guitar, and I realized when I joined the band 12 years ago that, you know, Jani, the previous guitar player, has used the 7-string as well, so I wasn't completely off it. So, but I think it's almost completely different instrument than the 6-string. So I like to think that the 6-string is like classic electric guitar. So I prefer to play 6 strings, but I also play 7-string guitars. And otherwise, amp-wise, I'm endorsed by Engel amps, and I used in the studio. I used Engel Invader 2. It was the name of the amplifier. It's quite new, follower for the Invader number 1, of course, and it's quite heavy. You know, if I turn it to the gain from 0 to 1, it's already like boosting really, really hard, and of course, you know, that suits me. And I think, but it's a versatile amplifier. I think we created a good tone, but we only used that amp. You know, there's nothing else on the sound on the album, just Engel Invader 2. So, of course, some effects were put there afterwards, and on some clean guitars I used some different stuff, but you know, the basic was the Engel. And live situation, I use more live preamp live, because I just was introduced to it like a few months back, and it's quite simple to use, and it's totally digital. It's easy to carry on with us. You know, we are flying. We don't have money so much to bring all the stuff with us. So it's really, really small and simple to use. And quite a long time I was against with all this digitalism, but the real amp is a real amp, you know. But I finally found a product that, you know, serve my needs, and I'm going with that right now.
Thank you very much, Elias, for this interview.
Ha ha